The first time I heard his voice, it wasn't through a microphone or in a crowded theater. It was in the dead silence of an elevator at midnight, a low rumble that felt like a command and a confession all at once. If fate had a cruel sense of humor, this was trapping a nobody like me beside the alpha everyone in America thought they owned. New York smelled like rain and gasoline that night. The audition hall had emptied hours ago, but my heart was still sprinting. I had barely scraped through the trainee selection one shaky performance, a nervous smile that couldn't hide how badly I wanted this. A place in a new boy group meant a bed to sleep in, a shot at something bigger than my own shadow. It did not mean moving into the penthouse of the nation's most notorious alpha. Yet here I was, suitcase handle sweaty in my palm, following Mason Hart through a corridor lined with framed magazine covers of his own face. The walls glowed with soft light, like the place itself bowed to him. Mason Hart, Hollywood's golden alpha, the man who made late-night hosts stutter and fans camp outside his gigs in the freezing dark. He was the kind of beautiful that didn't ask for attention. It commanded it, and right now he wasn't smiling. "You're late," he said, voice smooth as the black silk shirt stretched across his chest. I swallowed hard. The subway, no excuses. He turned, eyes like the sharp cut of glass in moonlight. "If you want to survive in this industry, you start by showing up on time, even to the people who owe you nothing." The words sliced, but there was no room to flinch. That was the first rule of dealing with an alpha. Don't show weakness. My body knew it even before my mind caught every nerve trembling, sent glands sparking with instinct I hated to admit. I forced my shoulders back. "It won't happen again." For a beat, his gaze lingered, like he could smell the lie under my skin. Then he stepped aside. "Guest rooms down the hall. Don't touch anything in the studio. And stay out of my way when I'm working." The door clicked shut behind me, leaving only the city's pulse outside the window. I dropped my suitcase and exhaled. What the hell had I agreed to? 2 days earlier, my manager had called it a miracle. Mason needed a live-in assistant for a few weeks while his team juggled movie premieres. A temporary arrangement, free rent, close proximity to a man whose name printed money. To the rest of the trainees, it sounded like a dream. To me, it smelled like trouble wrapped in cologne. Morning came with a thin slice of sun cutting across the penthouse floor. I padded into the kitchen, expecting silence, and almost tripped over Mason doing push-ups in nothing but gray sweatpants. The sight was an ambush, muscles tightening and releasing, every line of his back drawn with an artist's precision. My breath caught. He looked up without breaking rhythm. "Coffee," he said. I blinked. "A morning coffee?" he repeated, a flicker of amusement in those storm-gray eyes. Heat flushed my neck. I busied myself with the espresso machine, grateful for the excuse to turn away. The scent of Himrick cedar, faint smoke lingered, teasing instincts I trained myself to ignore. "Relax," he said, finishing his set and standing with the easy grace of someone who knew exactly how bodies reacted to him. "You look like I'm about to bite you." I nearly dropped the cup. "Are you?" That earned the smallest smile. "Not today." The days bled together in a rhythm I hadn't expected. Mornings of silent coffee, afternoons of frantic calls from his agent, nights where the city roared beneath the windows while Mason sat in the studio layering lyrics with a focus so sharp it silenced my own thoughts. I caught him in unguarded moments tapping a pencil against his teeth, eyes far away, the weight of fame settling on his shoulders like a cloak he couldn't remove. One night, I brought him tea without being asked. He didn't look up from his notes. "You should sleep." "So should you," I said. He glanced at me, something unreadable flickering across his face. "Sleep doesn't come easy when the world wants a piece of you." I hesitated. "Do you like it? The world wanting you?" His laugh was a quiet, broken thing. "It's not me they want. It's the alpha they made." The words hung between us, heavy as the city's heartbeat. For the first time, I saw not the superstar but the man-tired, human, craving something no spotlight could give. And that was when everything began to shift. The Omegaverse rules were unwritten but undeniable. My body knew them even if I pretended otherwise. the subtle pull whenever he walked into a room. The way his scent found me even through the noise of the city. I told myself it was biology, a cruel joke of nature. I told myself I would never cross that line. But the universe thrives on lines crossed. The breaking point came on a night when thunder wrapped the skyline in electric blue. I was curled on the couch with my audition notes when Mason burst in, rain slicking his hair, his shirt clinging like a second skin. He was breathing hard, eyes wild like he'd outrun something no camera could catch. "Rough night?" I asked, voice too soft to hide my worry. He didn't answer. Instead, he crossed the room in 3 strides, the storm still in his gaze. "I can't keep pretending," he said, his voice rough. "I can smell you every time you breathe. Do you have any idea what that does to me?" My heart slammed against my ribs. Every warning I'd built came crashing down. "Mason, I'm not asking for permission," he said, but his hand trembled where it hovered near my face, as if he feared his own touch. "I'm asking if you feel it too." The air between us crackled, heavy with a tension I tried to name and failed. My answer was a whisper lost in the thunder. "Yes." The world narrowed to the space between his breath and mine. The storm outside became a heartbeat, and when he finally closed the distance, it wasn't the kiss of a superstar or an alpha. It was the quiet collision of 2 people who had spent too long hiding from themselves. Later, in the hush that followed, he pressed his forehead to mine. "This will complicate everything," he murmured. "I know, but you're worth the chaos." And in that moment, the city could have fallen and I wouldn't have cared. Yet chaos, like fame, never waits politely at the door. The next morning, the tabloids exploded. A grainy photo of Mason leaving a late-night studio with a mystery Omega burned across every screen. By noon, my phone buzzed with calls from the agency. By dusk, the trainee group chat was a battlefield of speculation. I tried to hide in the guest room, but Mason found me pacing. "They'll fire me," I said, voice breaking. "I'll lose everything before I even start." "They won't," he said, his tone iron. "Because I won't let them. You can't protect me from the whole world." He stepped closer, his scent a steady anchor. "Watch me." I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe we could stand against the storm of public hunger, the industry that devoured scandals and spit out careers like bones. But belief is a fragile thing, and the world is a loud, merciless place. The apartment felt smaller after the tabloids hit. The penthouse windows, once a panoramic promise of New York's vastness, now looked like giant lenses spying on us. The world outside wanted a story and would twist anything to get it. Mason moved like a storm, contained, measured, but dangerous. He shut off his phone, ignored the endless ping of notifications, and stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, his reflection a dark silhouette against the city lights. I watched him from the couch, hands clasped so tightly they ached. "They'll crush me," I whispered, "before I even get to debut." He turned, eyes fierce and unyielding. "Not if I stand in front of the fire first." "That's not how this works," I said. "The industry eats its own. I'm nobody. They'll just call me my voice broke." "Your mistake." Mason strode to me and crouched until we were eye to eye, the scent of rain and cedar wrapped around us. "You are not a mistake." His words were steady, but his hands trembled when they cupped my face. "I know the rules. I know what it means to be an alpha in the spotlight. But I'm not letting them decide what you are to me." The conviction in his voice frightened me more than the headlines. That night, the agency summoned me for a meeting. The elevator ride to their Midtown office felt like a descent into judgment. The walls hummed with fluorescent light. My reflection in the chrome doors looked like someone already halfway erased. The conference room smelled of coffee gone cold and ambition sharpened to a knife edge. Mr. Grant, the agency's director, sat at the head of the table, his expression the polite blankness of someone calculating profit and loss. Beside him, a PR manager scrolled through a tablet filled with my undoing. "Congratulations," Mr. Grant said, voice clipped. "You've managed to trend worldwide before your first performance." My throat tightened. It wasn't control the narrative. The PR manager cut in. Deny any romantic involvement. Mason will release a statement calling you a trainee he's mentoring. We spin this as an inspirational alpha mentorship story. Clean and simple. My stomach turned. And if I don't? Mr. Grant's smile was cold. Then you can kiss your career goodbye before it begins. The room tilted. Fame was supposed to be a dream. Instead it felt like a trap with velvet walls. When I returned to the penthouse, Mason was waiting, leaning against the counter like a shadow carved in steel. What did they say? I repeated every word, each one tasting like ash. His jaw tightened. They want to erase us. They want to protect their investment, I said, my voice a whisper of defeat. And maybe they're right. Whatever this ISIT could ruin everything for both of us. Mason's eyes softened, but his alpha presence filled the room like a quiet storm. I won't live a lie to feed their machine. You've been doing it for years, I said before I could stop myself. He flinched, and guilt burned through me. I didn't mean no, he said, a bitter smile twisting his mouth. You're right. I've been performing so long I almost forgot what my own truth feels like. Silence settled between us, heavy as the city night. Then he reached for my hand. His touch was warm, steady. I want us. Not the headlines, not the show. Just us. But I won't force you. If you want to step back, if you want to protect your future, I'll stay quiet. I'll let you go. The thought of walking away cut deeper than any scandal. The world outside might never understand the pull between an alpha and an omega, the way scent and soul could align like a lock and key. But I knew with a certainty that outshone the city lights. I don't want to hide, I said, my voice trembling. Not anymore. His shoulders eased as if a weight had finally fallen. He pulled me into his arms, and for a heartbeat the world ceased to matter. But battles are not won in whispers. The next morning, Mason called a press conference. The media swarm filled the rooftop terrace, cameras clicking like a swarm of locusts. Gray clouds threatened rain, the skyline a jagged crown behind him. I stood just inside the glass doors, heart hammering. He stepped to the microphone, every inch the superstar, yet something in his stance was raw, unpolished. I have always given you my art, he began, voice carrying over the crowd. But I have hidden the part of me that matters most. Today I choose honesty. I'm in a relationship, and I will not apologize for love. The crowd erupted. Questions flew like arrows. Who is he? Is the Omega a trainee? Will this affect your contract? Mason raised a hand, silencing them with a single alpha glance. His name is his to share when he's ready. But understand this, he is not a scandal. He is the person who makes me want to be more than a headline. The words struck like lightning. My breath caught. Later, when the cameras were gone and the city's noise faded, I found him on the quiet rooftop where the evening sky bled into pink and gold. He looked tired but unbowed. That was reckless, I said, though my heart swelled. Maybe, he admitted, a crooked smile breaking through. But it was the only truth worth telling. I stepped closer until our shoulders brushed. You just made every agent in this city curse your name. They already do, he said with a soft laugh. But you, he turned, eyes warm. You make it worth the chaos. The sunset burned like a promise behind him. In that glow, the city no longer felt like a cage but a horizon. Weeks passed. The scandal that threatened to end us became a wildfire that refused to die. Some fans raged. Others defended. The agency, cornered by Mason's unyielding stance and the unexpected wave of public support, relented. They rebranded our story as a triumph of authenticity, love in the face of pressure. I debuted with the group months later. The cheers that greeted me were not the whispers of scandal, but the roar of acceptance. Somewhere in the crowd, I caught a flash of gray eyes and the familiar scent of cedar drifting through the chaos. After the show, I found him waiting backstage. He wrapped me in his arms, the noise of the world fading into the soft thud of his heartbeat. You were incredible, he said, his voice rough with pride. I almost forgot the lyrics, I confessed, laughing. You didn't, he replied, kissing my temple. Because you were born for this. Under the stage lights, with the city's pulse thrumming beyond the walls, I understood what we had fought for. Not just love, but the right to be seen as we were unhidden, unashamed. The world would keep spinning, hungry for stories, but ours belonged to us now. Mason squeezed my hand, his thumb brushing against my scent gland in a quiet, instinctive claim. I leaned into him, letting the warmth of his presence steady me. Ready for whatever comes next? He asked. With you, I smiled. Always. And in the heart of a city that never sleeps, under the endless hum of lights and possibility, our story found its quiet, steadfast truth. Love, in the end, wasn't the chaos. It was the calm we built inside it. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.